So would you rather play opponents in the first round or go through battle to prepare for a tougher opponent?
Well, both options have positives, right? Now, for me and my teams personally, and I don't know if this is an indictment on me as a coach, but history shows for me that a battle in the first game has usually had my teams primed for some kind of success in the next round. So tonight we talked about us playing Barron County in a thriller 4-3, and then turning around and playing Bowling Green 2 nights later. And hey, here's the other thing about that too, Chris. I didn't, we beat Barron County, and then we come out to practice the next night, and the kids are just. It's funny how this happens. The kids were just, their body language sucked because we're playing Bowling Green. Well, it's a good season. Let's just come out and have fun. Let's goof off. And to Coach Eller's credit, because remember I was the assistant coach that year. To Coach Eller's credit, he sent the kids home. He ended practice early because he was like, "Hey, if this is how it's going to be, I'm sending you home." And I don't know if that served as a wake-up call, but the bottom line is he maintained expectations. Regardless of who he was playing, he maintained expectations, right? So it's hard to do that if you're playing, in our case, in the district tournament, it's hard to do that if you're playing Valley in the first round. I mean, that's just, I don't want to pick on them, but it's hard to do that because you're probably going to win 10-zip. And, the kids are going to make a lot of mistakes that they can get away with. The game is a great teacher. The bench isn't even better. It is a great lesson. And if kids are allowed to get away with some of their flaws by playing Valley in the first round, they're going to be exposed in the next round.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So my concern with playing the 10-0 game in the first round is that it makes you struggle with. In my opinion, it makes you're missing two things. If you're playing that 10-0 game in the first round, you're missing physicality and speed of play. That's what you're missing from your opponent. So when your next opponent brings that, you're not going to respond to it very well. Feel free to ask PRP about that from last year's district tournament. Playing that hard-fought game in the first round gives you confidence and has you battle-tested for the next round. So in 2009, we were a 2 seed in our district tournament at Franklin Simpson, right? Now, we had home field advantage at least, but we played an overtime thriller against Russellville in the first round, which shouldn't have ever happened. But again, beat them 2-1 in overtime. And then we were primed for the rematch against Muhlenberg the next night, and we won 3-1. So after they had beaten us 3-1 6 weeks earlier, I guess it was, but maybe a month earlier. So there was that. And then 2013, on the flip side, on the bad side of that, we played Valley 10-0 before facing PRP in the final, and we struggled because PRP brought the physicality and the speed of play. And then you saw it in 2019. We had the battle against Holy Cross, and we won 1-0 in the final minutes. And then we handled PRP in the championship. So I guess I'll take the first round battle. I think I'll take that battle in the first round. As long as there's no cards, as long as there's no injuries. Kids can't take these games for granted, and you need those kind of games to tell your kids, hey, it's October. Everybody's good. And you've got to respect your opponent. The district tournament kind of teaches you to do that.
Totally. And, talking about Fairdale, one of those teams in that district is going to have to play 2 games this year because Beth Haven is having a soccer team. So it's going to be Holy Cross, PRP, Fairdale, Valley, and Beth Haven.
So that's a little bit of a wrench, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely now, I tell you what, playing a third game on a third game of the week, that's tough. If you have 2 battles, my answer might change if I had to play 3 games in 1 week to win a district championship. 2 battles and then the district final, that's tough to pull off.
Yeah. And okay, so we kind of talked about this, but I'll go ahead and ask you. So,
yeah.
I personally think they should, but do you think KHSA should get rid of the district tournament and just go straight to region, or do you think they should do that? Or
no, because Chris, the reason that there may be so many stories behind that 0-12 record. I mean, you may have kids that seasons. Hey, teams go through roller coasters of seasons. August may be just all about getting the kids out there. September may be just all about, keeping the kids eligible. And by the time October rolls around, you look at your roster. Hey, we're pretty talented. Hey, we're in pretty decent shape now. And Holy Cross, I mean, they've had seasons where they've won at best 5 games, and they've come out and beaten. They beat us in 2014 in the first round, I think, after they won 3 games that year. So these schools, especially maybe the smaller schools, number one, they have kids playing multiple sports. You have kids that are, I know over at Holy Cross, they're playing football, soccer, and cross country all that fall, which means by the time October rolls around, they're in shape, right? So they're not to be slept on. But we have no idea. So we have no idea what the stories are behind those records. Teams may be practicing well, but just not able to break through. That's one thing I always told my kids at Fairdale, guys. Once school starts, it's all about who's having the best practices. Because good practices add up. So even if you're not winning, if you're still having great practices, you're eventually going to break through and get those wins, right? And a lot of times that comes into play in October, So there's always a few more eyeballs on the district tournament games. Kids in a lot of places need as much exposure as they can get. The district tournament offers that. And again, you've heard me say this before. How many times teams play their best game of the season in their last game of the season? You see what I'm saying? Play the games, throw the records out. Chris, you won't believe this. 2015, I've got a 20-win team, or almost a 20-win team, right? Guess who? We played Valley in the first round of the district tournament at our field. Guess what the score was at the end of the game?
I'm just going to guess 10-2.
3-1 us.
Really?
Valley, now we played like crap, right? But that's not Valley's fault, right? So they came out and played, their best game of the year. So
yeah, that's shocking. I didn't know that. I've looked at that scoreboard so many times over but I guess I just missed over that.
Yeah, so throw the records out. The district tournament teaches you to respect the opponent, regardless of what the score was in the regular season. And again, programs that host their district tournament, they could use that gate money. So that's, so there's a financial incentive in there as well.
Right. So this is off topic, but how was Valley playing that night? Was it 11 in the back or?
No, Chris. Did they have? They probably. You know what? I don't know if they. I'm going to coach Bacino that was at Southern the last few years. He was the coach there at the time, and Andrew knows his soccer. We learned a lesson that night. Hey, don't disrespect your opponent, and Valley was up 1-0 on us. No joke.
Right.
Valley was up 1-0 on us, and we came back to win. We wore them down, but they were playing. Then first of all, they were having fun. You could tell they were just out there having fun. There was that, and then second, they were playing together.
Right.
So, if you're looking at the best game Valley's played in the last 10 years, it could very well be a 3-1 loss in the district tournament to Fairdale.
Yeah, that's surprising me. I never knew that. As much as I said that, I guess I just
forgot. Yeah, it's worth looking up, but that really happened. Now we didn't play well that game, but nonetheless, Valley took full advantage of that. So, props to them.
So, if your team kind of had bought into your personality and kind of had the similar style as you, do you think they would have been more successful in this game, or?
That's a great question, and it's a fun question to ask. We had, check this out, coming up into that game, there was a little bit of drama backstage going on. And we're not going to go into it completely, but I think, and the head coach was implicated, in that drama. And the kids knew about it. And I think, Chris, I don't know if they fully adopted my personality in that game, because I'm going to be very careful, because the head coach gave me that opportunity to come work with him. He could have easily said, no, I don't want that kid.
Right.
I don't want that loser coming and working with my program. But I think he didn't, he'd grown up in the area. And so he'd seen it time and time again, losing to Bowling Green. So it wasn't anything new to him, right? And so I don't think he had as much of a growth mindset. I could be completely wrong. He's, to my knowledge, he's still a pretty respected coach down in that area. In my opinion, he didn't have the growth mindset that I had, right? So, I saw every game as an opportunity to shock the world, and I think in that game all season long, especially that group of seniors, I think they had more of his personality. They kind of, but when some drama, there was a little bit of drama. I think they adopted a little bit more of my personality at that point. Not because not because I rallied them, I rallied the troops or anything and told them, hey, start listening. You got me. I got your back. There was never any of that. But I think when all that happened, I think my voice started to carry a little bit more weight, and they listened to me a little bit more than they had all year. And of course, my message was, hey, we're going to come out here and punch these guys in the face. We're not going to be afraid of them. And I think they took that and ran with it. So a little bit, I think that, that night it was more of my personality that the team embodied than the head coaches. And that's not a knock on him. I just think, I think some of the circumstances allowed them, and kind of nudged them to listen to me a little bit more than they had all year. So, it's a fun question. That's a fair question to ask. So, because we don't always get that as coaches. It's not every year that we have the teams that are a reflection of our personality, and those can be frustrating years.
For sure. So here's one last question to close things out. What's been your favorite district tournament as a coach?
Yeah, that's a tough one. My best district tournament as a coach. Well, it needs to be one that I won. So, and I've been in some great games. I've been involved in some great games. 2012 was really glorious. 2018 was something out of a movie.
Yeah, that was your first season back, right?
Mm-hmm. And we won. Yeah. We basically beat PRP in Golden Goal.
I remember that night.
For the second time in that season. Oh man! All right. So, but we only played one game in those district tournaments, so that makes it a little bit tough to brag about. So, I think last year's might have been the most like tournament, if that makes sense. We had all four teams, and in my opinion, that's good for the game. And we were the 3 seed on the road. We're at Holy Cross after they'd already beaten us that year. They've got the student section there. They've got their best team they've had in years. Everything is stacked against us, and we won both games to win the title. Cream always rises to the top. I scheduled tough on purpose that year to have us ready for October, mostly to have us ready for Butler if we met them in the regional. But in that case, in that situation, that's why we have those tournaments, because I still felt we could be the best team in the district. It just didn't come together until October. We were playing our best soccer. We played our best soccer of the season at that point in the season. There wasn't any question about it. A 3 seed, that's a tournament when the 3 seed wins, and on the road, and
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just be honest here. Going in that tournament, I kind of looked at you all as the underdogs. I mean, playing in Holy Cross, that's always a tough thing.
Well, that's what we want. I mean, hey, that's what we want. And for a team that plays 8 men on defense, it was going to be tough for us. But I just told the kids we prepared, and we learned from our loss against them in PRP earlier in the year. I mean, the whole back-to-back double shootout losses. We learned from it, and like I said, we played a tough schedule, and we were pretty. We were pretty confident that week. I mean, we felt like we should be the best team here, and it was cool to. I told the boys before the game. I said, "Hey, let's take the keys from Holy Cross this week, and we'll just tell them we'll lock up. Y'all go home. We'll lock up." And that's a tournament for you when you pull off something like that. That's a great tournament. When you're able to do that.
There's no way Fairdale's going to win this. I was expecting
Really
to pull off. Yeah.
Oh, Chris.
I'll be honest. Yeah. I mean, I know you all lost in the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking I'd be really surprised if Fairdale won. And
I just think, I think it's a big mistake. I think it's a big mistake for a team. Now you're a manager, so it's a little bit safer for you to make those assertions. And you know what? You're going to do that for a career, and I think that's great. But for players and coaches especially, there are teams, and we see it every year before the NCAA tournament. We see it all the time that just look dead in the water in the first week of October, and then something happens the week of district tournament. I mean, somebody either gets hurt, and something happens. There's a new lineup. Somebody comes back from injury, whatever, and it just looks like a completely different team. And I've been fortunate enough to be with a lot of teams that have been able to do that in October. But that one last year in 2019, that was a classic example of, what I always wanted to accomplish. Now, we'd prefer to go in as the 1 seed and win every game, but you're not going to get that every year. So that I think that was the best tournament I've ever been a part of. That was it was very rewarding. And, yeah, like you said, I mean, Chris, I'm sure there were a lot of people that thought they're not going to win this. This team, this is just a down year. And, nope, don't count us out.
yeah, I mean, I remember, I think we were playing, we just beat, who did we beat? Doss. And Sales and Iroquois was going on. And I remember just looking at my phone on Twitter, just waiting for an update for that game.
Yeah.
You all Holy Cross, I was just kept on scrolling.
Yeah.
So that's I always kind of enjoyed that during the district regional tournament while I'm on the sidelines. I did the Twitter for Butler soccer, so I thought it was kind of cool to see. Oh, wonder how Fairdale's doing tonight, and wonder how this team's doing. So that's why I like social media a lot more. For
sure. That's what it's good for. When Daniel scored that goal with 3 minutes to go against Holy Cross, we were back at that point. I was like, okay, we're in position. Here we come. And we wish things could have turned out differently than they did, but that's part of it. But we won that district championship, and because we had that underdog mentality. So, and we thrive with that. We really do. So, or we did.
Totally.
I should say. We did when I was there, I should say. So, I think they'll keep it going.
For sure. All right. Well, that's all I have. So, I think next week we've got a good one in store, the 2015 season.
Man, that's gonna be loaded, man. That should be fun to talk about. We got all kinds of games. We got tournaments to talk about. Are we gonna have a guest that week?
I just texted him earlier. I'm waiting on a response, but there's a chance that John Pedro from Fern Creek could possibly make an appearance.
Yeah, that'll be cool to talk with Coach Pedro. Got a lot of respect for him and what he's accomplished, obviously. But that 2015 season, that's you're going to need to ask me, what's my best team? What's my greatest team ever? That 2015 team, man, that's going to be – it's hard to beat that one. So I can't wait to talk about why.
Yeah.
Really and truly, I can't wait to talk about the preparation that went into that season because it's another underdog mentality. But a little bit of a comeback there. So I can't wait to talk about that one. That one's going to be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Should be a good one.